Politics disgusts me. I hate politics with a passion. I'm a guy that's 24 years old and I never voted. Not only have I never voted, but I never will. I have no intention on voting. And a lot of people have told me in my life, you do realize that because you don't vote, you're also part of the problem. And and not only that, but I'm well aware that the rights that I'm able to have today, whether it be freedom of speech or just freedom to do anything because I am a half African American male. I am aware that all of that came because of people getting involved in politics and people, getting involved in activism. So I'm not denying that getting involved in politics is something that could contribute positively to society. I'm not denying that at all. But at the same time, I don't really care about politics. I don't. And call it, selfish or whatever, it's fine. One thing I notice people call it is privileged. You're privileged. And you could say that as well. I'm not going to deny that. Yes, I am privileged and not care about politics. Exactly. I'm telling you guys that right now. There are people right now that they have no option but to care about politics. But I'm just getting into the reasons why I have this opinion. The thing about me, I've said this before in my life, but the thing about me is I view this life from an observer mode. From observer mode, yeah. And basically, if you don't know what that means, I psychologically feel like I'm observing this world. I'm observing this world. It doesn't really feel like I'm a participant in it. And this is something that I've always had my entire life, but I just could not quite articulate. But I've always wondered, isn't it kind of crazy how we never asked to be in this world, but I'm basically pressured to play a part of all these games. I mean, to me, it's already bad enough that you have to participate in the rat race, that you have to work your life away, and that's the thing. I've made a compromise. I've accepted that there are numerous things that I don't have to. I mean, numerous things that I do have to do. But my compromise is that if there's something that I don't have to participate in, and that's being politics, meaning I don't have to vote. In the United States and Canada, you don't have to vote. I'm pretty sure pretty much most places, at least in Canada, you don't have to vote if you don't want to. So, with that being said, my compromise is that if I don't have to play a part in whatever other game society creates, I want them. It's already bad enough that I have to do all of these other things, right? And I get it that politics does have importance. I get it, guys. So don't look at me, we're talking about you're selfish and you're ignorant. I understand the importance of it. But as I was saying before, there's just something that really felt odd to me about being in this place that we can't understand, but they pressure you or force you to play certain games. And politics is one of those games. It's like, how is it my fault? Or what do I have to do in the state that the world's in right now? Whether it be because one group of people don't have a certain amount of rights, whether it be because another group of people is being, marginalized, or the Epstein file, what do I have to do with that? And I'm trying to say that from a selfish point of view. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that how is this like I never chose for this world to be this way, and this place was already severely messed up way before I got here, way before any of us got here. So why do I have to participate in battle that I never chose? Why? Like, and I just don't really care about all these arguments people have. Left, right, social issue this, social issue that, Epstein file. Don't get me wrong, I feel like for the people that do live, for the people that do live in this world, I feel like we all should have the best lives possible, but I'm gonna say it right now, I'm not gonna be the one to try to make change or try to do all of these activist stuff. I'm not gonna be that guy. and I'm not gonna be pressured to be that guy. I haven't had one guy. I have one guy tell me a long time ago during the 2020 elections and the 2022 or 20. See, I don't even remember when the presidential elections were. I think it was 2023 with Justin Trudeau. But one guy I've known for over the years, he told me, "Dude, if you don't vote, you're a part of the problem, man. Do you realize that you could be making a lot of change?" And here's the funny thing about what he said, though. The funny thing about what he said is, I live in Montreal, right? And a lot of these guys that pressure you to vote, they always tend to be like, well, for some reason, they always tend to be, Democrat, which I don't really care. But it's not like I say I'm a Republican. Again, I don't really care about politics at all. But but basically, my point is, the thing is, even if I voted Democrat, right, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the last election and the last year in Pennsylvania, I don't know if they had more blue Democrat votes or I don't even remember. But all I know is that at the end of the day, I heard something called electoral college. So at the end of the day, even if, like, let's say, even if blue gets more votes, by the way, it is a nice weather. My birthday was today. But let's just say Democrat gets some more votes, right? That's not gonna exactly mean that we're gonna win the presidential elections, though. It's not because of the electoral college, and I'm not too sure why exactly. I don't really have too much knowledge about this topic, but and if you're in Pennsylvania, like in the U.S., then it doesn't even matter if you vote Democrat because the state is just gonna keep voting red anyway. So it's like it doesn't matter, man. It doesn't matter. Pennsylvania is an overly red state. It's a red state. Now, I don't live in the U.S., I'm in Canada. I don't know if here is blue. I'm not sure. But as a state, there's a saying called Pennsylvania, basically. And basically what that means is this is Pennsylvania and then Kentucky. So you have Pittsburgh on the west side of the state. Then you have Philadelphia on the other side of the state, the east side. And everything in between is red. Literally everything outside of those two metro areas is red. And that's the majority of the population that lives in a state. So it's like, what's the point of telling me to vote blue or go vote, man? It's not gonna change anything at the end of the day because you got all these hillbillies living in the middle of nowhere in Pennsylvania that are gonna vote red. And I say to people myself, man, I've never crossed these time myself, but I've seen videos on YouTube, about these hillbillies. Damn, it's kind of like, this feels very red. It feels so red. Like very Republican in those places. Trump supporter type of stuff, those Middletown. And in my opinion, I don't feel uncomfortable or anything, but just from that experience, I already knew that, this is the state is not gonna be voting blue. That's just how it is. And even if it did though, I'm not saying that I would actually participate in the elections, even if it did vote blue, because again, the absurdity with politics. I just don't have an interest in this, guys. I don't. I'm not gonna be on here talking about red versus blue. Oh, you're a left wing, you're a right wing. And the crazy thing is, I don't even know what that means. I don't know what that means. I heard the terms left, right being thrown around, and I don't know what that means. And guess what? Don't care. Like, I do not care one bit about any of this. Nothing. It's all a game made by the system, and the way I see it, I'm not gonna play this game. I've been put on this earth when I never actually consented to that, so my only goal with this world is to maximize my pleasure, and with anime, that's it. Maximize pleasure. For example, right now, well, here's my drawing with all of this gothic aesthetic stuff because I'm all to myself. You know how you get one of those random days where it just spikes in temperature and then it goes way up? Because these wouldn't feel awesome. I'm out in my room recording a video. Because, today is my birthday, and, the weather is going to change pretty soon. But yeah, man, I'm here. I'm going to chill. I'm going to watch my favorite shows. I'm going to maybe work out on the ground. I'm going to do my thing and watch anime thing, man. I'm not going to spend my precious time on this world arguing about, oh, left this, right there. No, I don't care. I don't care. And think about this right now, dog. There's so many people on the internet right as I speak, I'm over here just actually feeling something. I'm out. I'm in here. I'm feeling the nice view. You know, I'm recording this video to express my behavior, making content, putting my real views out there, and at the same time, you got these dudes on the internet arguing about, oh, left to right, oh, you're a liberal, oh, liberal this and that. The funny thing is, if you don't engage in this nonsense, if you don't engage in this nonsense, you want to know what the funniest part is? The funniest part is, it feels like it doesn't actually even exist. I'm not gonna lie, like, I even have one guy one of my cousins, he doesn't know anything about politics. Nothing, new. And if you ask this guy about politics, he's gonna be like, huh? What the heck? And again, I know that it actually affects him just like us. I know that it affects us, but what I'm saying is that I just don't really think about it, and neither does he. He spends all his time watching anime and playing video games when he's not working and work out, which I don't think good for him because I'm doing that myself. Because because all of this stuff really we give me adrenaline. That's the thing is like, we choose not to spend our time with all this stuff that we can't even control anyway. I mean, think about this. Let's just compare two situations. Let's take me, a guy that just done my own thing. Like I don't get involved in any drama, digital noise, politics discussions. I don't get involved in that nonsense. But take me, a guy that just has fun. That's it. I have fun. And then you take another guy that spends his entire life arguing about politics online. And at the end of the day, he doesn't accomplish anything because he's still one individual. And, who's really wasting time? Like, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. This life is weird and crazy anyway. But the way I see it, I'm over here maximizing my pleasure, will just rotting away, pretty much wasting your time on something that, you're never going to change, bro. And here's the funny thing though. There has to be people like that. This is the thing. I'm not saying that you're all like you all shouldn't be doing this. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't care what you guys do or not. Do whatever you want. What I am saying is that it's very interesting because there has to be people like that. There has to be because that's how the system works. There has to be people that are involved in politics, or else nothing's gonna change. The thing is, I'm aware of that. It's like how I know there has to be doctors out there. There has to be gods. There has to be, the cult. There has to be people in the woods doing occultist stuff. There has to be people that, do all sorts of organization shit. I am aware there has to be people like that, but I'm not going to do that. It's pretty much the same logic. And at the same time, there has to be people that do occults. There has to be people that, are sacrificing people. There has to be people that do well then, the antiquar. But I'm not participating in it. I mean, I don't even put it on the same level as politics because at least those are more, man-made. For more people to get involved in politics, I'd say like 1% can actually change something. But, that's besides the point. The point is, I'm just not gonna get involved. I'm not. And what good has come from these discussions anyway? If you guys are familiar with Charlie Kirk, like years ago, look what they did to him. The thing is, I don't let you know who this guy is. I mean, I've watched some videos of him debating about people until you already know what happened. But look at that. Like, that's what talking about this stuff does to people. You're going to do that over a guy that has a political opinions. And I'm aware that people say that he does have some controversial takes. But again, I'm not too familiar with this individual. I'm just saying that even if you do have controversial takes, does that really warrant what that guy did to him? No, it does not warrant doing that. And this is what politics does. It turns people into animals. It turns people into nasty beings, savages. Even if you did that Charlie Kirk guy as well, it's like your entire life is just arguing about politics. I just can't. I can't live a life like that. I can't, and I get the importance of it again, but I can't really fathom how people can live like that. I just want to enjoy my time with anime and shit. I don't want to constantly be thinking about politics, that. No, man. I want to look at those trees in the horizon. I want to feel good. I want to feel like I'm edgy. I want to go beyond. I want to be like a 90 action hero. I want to relax. I want to role play with, characters. I want to sleep until 2 p.m. That's what I want to do. I'm not gonna sit on here wasting my life talking about, oh, red this, blue that. No.